If fairy tales ever needed a modern setting, they'd probably start here, in a place where windmills still turn with centuries-old patience, where tulips bloom like spilled paint across endless fields, and where water doesn't just shape the land, it shapes the soul. Welcome to the Netherlands, a country that proves small can still be magical, and ordinary days can still feel like art. Now, let's get one thing straight. The Netherlands isn't the kind of place that tries to dazzle you with drama. There are no towering mountains to conquer, no wild jungles to wrestle through. Instead, it wins you over slowly, like a story whispered rather than shouted. It's in the gentle hum of bicycle wheels on cobblestones, in the reflection of 17th century houses leaning into a canal, in the smell of freshly baked stroopwafels drifting from a market stall. This is not a country you rush through. This is a country you sink into. And where better to start than Amsterdam, the city that wears its history like a second skin. Everyone thinks they know Amsterdam. Canals, tulips, cheese, coffee shops. And yes, those are all here, but they're just the surface. The real magic of this place is in its rhythm. Over 100 kilometers of canals weave through the heart of the city, lined with those iconic gabled houses. Tall, narrow, and painted in earthy tones like an old oil painting come to life. Take a boat ride at sunset and you'll understand why this city has inspired painters, poets, and dreamers for centuries. The golden light hits the water just right, the reflections shimmer, and for a moment you feel like you're floating through time. But Amsterdam isn't stuck in the past. Art here isn't confined to museums, though trust me, the museums are legendary. You could spend days wandering the halls of the Rijksmuseum or standing nose to canvas with Van Gogh's swirling sunflowers. But you'll also find art splashed across alley walls, tucked into hidden courtyards, or performed spontaneously by street musicians who seem to turn every corner into a stage. This city lives creativity. It doesn't just display it. And then there's the biking. If you want to feel like a local, forget taxis and trams. Grab a bike. In Amsterdam, the bicycle isn't just transportation, it's a lifestyle. You'll see people cycling with groceries, kids, dogs, entire houseplants. It's practically a sport. And yes, at first it feels chaotic, but once you get the hang of it, there's a strange joy in joining that two-wheeled flow. It's freedom in motion. When your legs need a break, wander through one of the city's markets. The Albert Kuipmarkt is a sensory overload. Wheels of cheese bigger than your head, tulip bulbs in every colour imaginable, the sweet, buttery smell of fresh stroopwafels crisping on a griddle. And if you're lucky, you might stumble into one of those hidden brown cafes, cosy, dimly lit pubs where conversations stretch longer than the beers they serve. That's the thing about Amsterdam. The best parts of it are rarely the ones you planned for. But the Netherlands isn't just one city. Head a little further and you'll find a completely different vibe in Rotterdam. A city that decided the past was only the starting point. After being devastated during World War II, Rotterdam rebuilt itself not as it was, but as it could be. Today, it's a living laboratory of architecture and innovation. Skyscrapers twist and tilt like sculptures. Bridges stretch across the river with futuristic grace, and the famous cube houses look like something from a science fiction film. Rotterdam isn't pretty in a traditional sense. It's bold, daring, and unafraid to experiment. And yet, amid the steel and glass, there's still soul. The port, the largest in Europe, hums with the energy of global trade. Museums like Boijmans van Beuningen house everything from old masters to avant-garde installations, and the city's food scene, a culinary passport, Indonesian rijsttafel, Turkish kebabs, Surinamese curries. Each plate tells a story of the city's diverse roots and modern heartbeat. If Amsterdam is the romantic poet of the Netherlands, Rotterdam is the forward-thinking engineer, and together they tell a complete story. Of course, no visit here is complete without stepping into what might be the most photogenic place on Earth, Keukenhof. For just 8 weeks every spring, this enormous garden near Lisse becomes a living rainbow. 7 million flowers bloom in carefully choreographed patterns. Ribbons of tulips, swirls of hyacinths, oceans of daffodils. You don't walk through Keukenhof, you float through it, intoxicated by the colours, the scent, the sheer artistry of it all. And tucked between the blossoms are pavilions showcasing rare species, sculptures hiding in corners, and even a classic Dutch windmill you can climb for panoramic views. It's nature at its most poetic, and a reminder of just how deeply the Dutch care for beauty. But if Keukenhof is nature's art gallery, then Giethoorn is its love letter. This tiny village looks like it's been plucked straight out of a storybook. No cars, no noise, just narrow waterways winding between thatched roof cottages and gardens exploding with flowers. Locals travel by boat, and visitors are encouraged to do the same. Glide silently along the canals, and it feels like time slows down. Ducks paddle beside you, willows dip lazily into the water, and every turn reveals another postcard-perfect view. And in winter, when the canals freeze, Giethoorn transforms again, this time into a natural ice-skating paradise straight from a winter fairy tale. Not far away, the town of Leiden offers a quieter kind of magic, one built on ideas. It's home to the country's oldest university, where Einstein once lectured, and generations of scholars have shaped the world. The canals here are lined with bookstores and cafes, the air buzzing not with noise but with thought. Museums celebrate everything from Egyptian mummies to biodiversity, and in spring, the city's edges explode with tulips, just as breathtaking as any countryside field. Leiden doesn't shout for your attention. It invites you to slow down, think deeply, and stay a while. Speaking of beautiful, let's step away from the cities and into a landscape that's pure poetry, Kinderdijk. Here, in the Dutch countryside, 19 elegant windmills stand watch over a flat, green world, their sails turning slowly in the breeze, just as they have for centuries. Built in the 1700s to pump water and protect the lowlands from flooding, they're more than picturesque landmarks, they're symbols of Dutch ingenuity. Because here's the thing about the Netherlands. This country exists because people refuse to let the sea win. And Kinderdijk is a reminder of that quiet, determined fight. Walk or cycle along the dikes, and you'll hear nothing but the creak of wood, the rustle of reeds, and the distant call of waterbirds. Inside the windmills, life from centuries past is preserved. Cozy wooden beds tucked into walls, cast iron stoves still ready to light, gears and levers turning with timeless purpose. It's not just history, it's heritage, still alive and working. And in spring, when the fields are bright green and sheep graze lazily under a wide blue sky, it's hard not to feel a deep sense of calm here, a peace born from the harmony between humans and nature. From pastoral silence, we head back into the whispers of history, this time in Dordrecht, the Netherlands' oldest city. And you can feel that age in every cobbled alley and crooked warehouse, in the scent of the water drifting through the harbour, and in the shadow of the towering Grote Kerk. This city was once a thriving trade hub, and while the ships may be smaller now, the sense of connection remains. Cafes float gently on the canals, bookshops spill onto the streets, and art galleries breathe new life into ancient buildings. The city's artistic soul runs deep. Dordrecht has inspired painters for centuries, and today its museums and art festivals continue that legacy. Even nature feels close here. Just beyond the city lies Biesbosch National Park, where willow forests and wetlands stretch as far as the eye can see. Glide through its quiet waters by canoe, and you'll understand why the Dutch never stray too far from the water's edge. If Dordrecht is a love letter to the past, Middelburg is a hidden poem, small, understated, and utterly enchanting. Tucked away in Zeeland, this city is a treasure chest of history and charm. Once a bustling port for the Dutch East India Company, its legacy lingers in grand canal houses and ornate facades. Wander its narrow lanes, and you'll pass Gothic churches, rose-filled courtyards, and abbeys that have stood for centuries. And at the centre of it all is the Lange Jan Tower, rising above the rooftops like a lighthouse over time. Climb it on a clear day, and the view stretches endlessly, across the city, over the harbours, and out to the distant fields and sea. Despite its small size, Middelburg has a vibrant spirit. Jazz cafes and art galleries fill its historic streets, and summer festivals bring bursts of music and colour. And just beyond the city, Zealand's windswept coastline offers another kind of beauty. Long beaches, wild dunes, and the salty tang of the North Sea. It's a place where you can watch windsurfers ride the waves 1 minute and enjoy fresh-caught seafood the next. Middelburg doesn't shout for attention. It doesn't need to. Its quiet confidence is part of its charm. Now let's visit Delft, the city where art and science hold hands. Known for its blue and white ceramics and the legacy of painter Johannes Vermeer, Delft feels like stepping into a painting itself. The market square is framed by the soaring Nieuwekerk and the Renaissance-style City Hall, both reminders of centuries of history. Wander through its calm canals, and you'll see why artists have always been drawn here. The light is soft and golden, the reflections dreamy and painterly. At the Royal Delft factory, artisans still hand-paint ceramics, using techniques passed down for generations. Each piece is a work of art, every brushstroke an echo of the past. But Delft isn't stuck in history. It's a lively university town, full of students, music and laughter. Cafes spill onto the cobblestones, bicycles crowd every bridge, and the air hums with curiosity. Delft's beauty isn't loud. It's balanced, graceful, and deeply human. This is a place where simplicity and sophistication exist side by side, where centuries of history stand shoulder to shoulder with bold visions of the future, where every street, every village, every patch of countryside has a story to tell, if you're willing to listen. And that's the beauty of the Netherlands. It doesn't need to scream to be unforgettable. It lingers in your senses, in your memories, in the way you start craving a slower, softer pace of life long after you've left. Because here, beauty isn't about grandeur. It's about balance. It's about harmony. It's about the quiet joy of living in sync with the world around you. So whether you're gliding through a canal, wandering a flower field, or just sipping coffee beside a sunlit window, take a moment to breathe it all in. Because this isn't just a trip. It's an experience, one that stays with you long after your suitcase is unpacked. And if this little journey through the Netherlands sparked your wanderlust, make sure you stick around. There are plenty more stories and hidden corners of the world to explore together. Until then, pack a sense of curiosity, bring an open heart, and maybe, just maybe, a raincoat. Trust me, the Netherlands is waiting.